I always tell people the only ones that'll criticize you for making a game day decision are the people that never had the courage to make it. It's very easy
Yeah.
to go back, but like all these people in life, like when you're a leader, when you're a fighter, when you're a law enforcement guy, like you don't have that luxury. And it's very easy to second guess things people did, but there's so many other factors that go into that. And that's, we've talked about this a bunch of times, but that's why I think it's amazing where people don't understand the difference in pressure. Like when there's pressure on a situation, everything is different. And if you are not used to having to make decisions under pressure, you are not going to make great decisions. And I think it's insane that I know police officers that 10, 15, 18 years on the job, all of a sudden they get into an altercation. And it's literally the first time in their life that they've actually ever been in like a high stress pressure cooker like that to make decisions. And they have no idea how to act. Even with that years of training, if you're not used to being in that pressure cooker and making those decisions, it's an extremely hard thing to control. And so people sitting home on their couches, like not only did you not have that, but that fight or flight and all those things going on and all those other distractions that you didn't even know to think about, I feel like changed the game. And so my whole rant there is to say boxing and jiu-jitsu has been the thing that I found over the years has been the matrix where it's taught me over time that when everything is chaotic, it allows you to slow down so you can at least try and make better decisions under pressure than the average person. How much has your jiu-jitsu background helped you stay calm in these high pressure cooker situations on your job?
Yeah. So, to your point, 1,000%, right? So none of us know how we're going to react in these situations. Even if you've been in them before, the past is definitely a good indicator of how you'll behave in the future. But even if you've been in them before, right, you still don't know how you're going to act if you're in it now, right? If you're older, if you're injured, how long your shift was, right? Did you get a good night's sleep the night before? Did you get in an argument with your spouse on the way into your assignment, right? So, like, even if you've performed really well before, you don't know how you're going to perform. And let's face it, like as Secret Service agents, I always say, like, we don't get paid for what we do every day, right? So you figure like a local police officer, an NYPD officer, like, he's pulling over cars every night. He's answering calls for DV, domestic violence, disturbances. He's dealing with this stuff every night. Like Secret Service agents, the very best protection assignment we have is nothing happens. That means we did a great job, right? We did a great job. Nothing happened. Everything went smoothly. No one had to put hands on anybody, right? And this is what happens more often than not. And so, you're not doing these things. So what can you do to prepare yourself mentally? Because every time we do have a protection assignment, you're not putting your hands on people. You're not getting shot at. You're not getting into a fight, a physical altercation. You're not having to arrest somebody every single time, at least traditionally, based on the 26 plus years I've been doing it. So, when these things happen, the stakes are very high, obviously, because we're protecting, the most powerful person in the world. But, so how do I prepare myself to deal with that? Because I'm not getting into it every day, right? So what can I do? I can make sure I shoot my firearm and then I'm proficient with my skills and my tools more than just what's basically required. Okay. Number two, what else can I do? Well, I don't have my office has a resident black belt in me, right? And I have Max here and we train, but not every Secret Service office has that, right? So I could go take jujitsu classes. Now is going into a controlled environment in a mat room in a gi the same as getting into something for real? No, of course not, right? But to your point, I'm conditioning myself and putting myself under a little bit of physical and mental stress so that if God forbid I'm under tremendous physical and mental stress, I can have some skills to manage that, right? And so I was listening to another podcast yesterday, and it was a jiu-jitsu black belt and former military special operations guys, right? And they were talking back and forth. And the one guy said, like, we went on a camping trip with my jiu-jitsu buddies, and all we talked about was jiu-jitsu. And one of the guys said sitting around the campfire, having a beer, he's like, do you think Taekwondo guys sit around and do this? And it's like, no. So like, what is it about jujitsu that creates that bond that we have that you don't see across other martial arts? And I think, in my opinion, he had a different opinion, but my opinion is like you and me could go on a jiu-jitsu mat and train at 100% against each other and not really get hurt, right? So if we were punching and kicking, like if we went in and you put on gloves and a mouthpiece and headgear and I do the same, and we're like, all right, we're going to go live here. I mean, somebody's going to be hurt after that, right? More than likely. So like, but we could put a gi on, we could roll hard for 45 minutes, an hour, and then we could go have lunch and maybe a little scuff marks here and there. But, so I think it's the fact that you're able to go really, really hard, man, and train really, really hard, and you spar every night. that really creates that bond because you feel like you could really do something, right? You feel like you're really battle tested. Where if you're in a traditional martial art and you're doing forms and katas, like, I think at least if you have some self-awareness, you're like, man, am I really able to do something if things really got bad? Like, and even if you're a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, like if things really got bad, like I could probably pull this guy into my guard and hold on and scream.
Yeah, man.
So that's why I think it's just such a game changer for folks in my line of work, man.